The Anchorage to Seward route of the Seward Highway is consistently rated as one of the nation's most scenic byways, and the Anchorage-Seward Alaska Railroad trip is constantly one of the most popular for passenger rail service. But all of that could come to a screaming halt. With service beginning in Seward in the early 1900s, well over 500 miles of track have been laid for our Class II railroad. It is unique in that it carries both freight and passengers throughout its system. Although revenues were down a percentage or two over the last couple of years, the company regularly returns a healthy profit to the state, over $14 million in 2013. So one would think that asking the state to back a bond for twice that to keep passenger cars rolling wouldn't be a difficulty.
House Bill 140, the Alaska Railroad has to put in positive train control or they'll lose their passenger service. Basically, they get about $25 million a year in passenger revenue, but besides that, they get $29 million a year from the Federal Transportation Authority for passenger service.
Positive train control has four primary characteristics. It keeps trains apart so they don't run into each other, enforces the speed limits, including temporary restrictions, and keeps railway workers and equipment safe.
Through the GPS and everything, when there's two trains on the tracks, they will know exactly where the trains are to make sure that we don't have any accidents.
Systems are in use across the globe, but here in Alaska it'll be designed to work with the Anchorage dispatch with data transmitted over a digital radio system. An onboard computer will alert workers to approaching restrictions and to stop the trains if need be.
What brought this on was some rail accidents in the lower 48 where they had a lot of people killed, and this became a mandatory. It has to be done or you lose your federal funding, or you could be subject to a $100,000 a day fine if you don't have it.
Wabtec is a Pennsylvania company that is designing the PTC system for Alaska Railroad. They started working in railway safety since 1869 when they were known as the Westinghouse Brake Company. Wabtec is focusing on collision avoidance, and we're talking about with other locomotives here, not with Moose.
They're looking at stages. They have to have it in about 3 years, I believe, is the deadline.
It's one of those legislative decisions that will have a large impact, either way they vote.
Without positive train control, they'd lose that ability to have passenger service. It'd have a big effect on the railroad. They'd have to go back and refigure everything.
The refreshing thing about this problem is that the state doesn't have to write a check to solve it. The folks at Alaska Railroad have sharp pencils and have been very clever with their math.
The original bill for positive train control was around $168 million. They're down now that they need an additional $55 million to complete it. They have refinanced some other bonds and some things where that they now are looking at if they can get bonding through the state. I mean, we have to give authority. It wouldn't be state bonds. For $37 million, $38 million, then they would have $17 additional million that they would still need to complete the project.
The bonds are scheduled to be repaid with federal transportation dollars that are committed for that purpose. So a yay vote on this issue doesn't put the state or the railroad on the hook.
The state has no liability whatsoever in this, and it helps get the railroad towards the positive train control that they need to have completed.
The Alaska Railroad passenger trains have been ridden by The Simpsons in their movie, as well as the films Runaway Train, Balto, Into the Wild, and is currently in its second season of being featured in a reality series named Railroad Alaska on Destination America. Reporting in Juneau, I'm Doreen Lorenz.